I'm Adriana Tender, and let's queer up trans rights. Transgender Day of Remembrance 2025. A nation in crisis, a community demanding recognition. A staggering toll of anti-trans violence, political hostility, and institutional abandonment is facing transgender Americans. TDOR, founded in 1999 to honor the memory of Rita Hester, has become an annual reminder of the lives lost to bias-driven violence and the systems that continue to endanger trans people. This year's commemoration comes at a time when transgender rights in the United States are under historic attack. In 2025 alone, the ACLU is tracking 575 anti-LGBTQ plus bills, the majority focused on trans communities. While 105 have failed, 54 have passed, including bans on gender-affirming care, restrictions on school restrooms and sports participation, bans on pride flags on government property, and barriers preventing trans people from updating identity documents. Advocates warn that although most bills don't become law, the expanding volume and severity of proposed legislation have profound consequences. The 2025 Remembrance Report released by Advocates of Trans Equality documents 27 violent deaths of transgender and gender non-conforming people this year, alongside 21 suicides. Of those lost to suicide, 61% were ages 15 to 24, a trend linked to the rollback of youth protections and the elimination of the LGBTQ specific 988 crisis line option. The report also confirms deeply entrenched racial disparities. 15 of 17 transgender women of color killed were Black. Gun violence accounted for 17 of these 27 violent deaths, including the killing of Washington, D.C.'s Dream Johnson. Intimate partner violence was a factor in 40% of violent deaths, including the widely publicized killing of New York trans man Sam Nordquist. At the federal level, sweeping policy changes have eliminated recognition of trans and non-binary people, removed transgender health information from government websites, and halted critical research initiatives. Combined with widespread mistrust of law enforcement reflected in the U.S. Trans Survey, finding that 62% of transgender people feel unsafe seeking police help. The data paints a picture of a community under siege. On this Transgender Day of Remembrance, the findings underscore an urgent truth. Honoring the dead must go hand in hand with protecting the living.
Amen.
That was a mouthful.
Yeah.
Thinking about Transgender Day of Remembrance, I'm part of the lead of the planning with TIG, and it always touches me in a place and when I'm putting this together. And then recently, just finding out that on Friday, we just lost another Black trans woman.
Yeah.
And I think she was 21 years old. She was a baby.
A baby.
You know? Mm-hmm. And it was her partner.
Yeah.
You know? It's like wondering and thinking about the partners that we have and that we're falling in love with and that we think are there to protect us are killing us.
Yeah.
So our anti-trans violence is rubbed off on our loved ones and our partners because the shame and the stigma that the community and the world we're 1% of the human population.
Yes.
But we seem to be 99% of the news stories. But our husbands and our boyfriends and our partners and our loved ones and our girlfriends are also struggling with shame because they're being seen with us in public. They're supporting us and they're empowering us. So that 40% of the TDOR hate crimes were by people that we love the most.
Yeah.
That's alarming.
It is. It's sad too. You know, I'll tell you, anytime I hear of a death, someone being killed that's transgender, and especially like me being a transgender woman of color, first of all, I'm sad about hearing that they were killed or, you know, murdered. But also I think about me And I think about, wow, that could have been me. And I was enjoying the momentum that we had for a little bit. We had like a little sweet spot
2000.
when we were seeing momentum with our transgender civil rights movement. And now we have all this backlash that's going on. And so I'm a person that tries to think positive. I try to keep my spiritual vibrations high, and I declare my safety. But I got to tell you, when I go out in public now, I do really proceed with a lot more caution.
Of course.
Because,
Because you're smart.
I think that it's important also that we have to think about where do we find safety? Like, what does safety look like for us, especially someone that has experienced intimate partner violence and have been in a space where I'm like, I know I have to get out of this space. And when I made a post on my social media about like, this is sad, and what does that look like? We create organizations like Trans Inclusive Group, Trans Social, SunServe for a place to find refuge. And oftentimes community members don't know that we exist. When they think about our organizations, they're thinking about HIV and some of those things and not understanding that we can help them find a safe place if you're trying to escape, help you get to that better quality of life where you don't have to live in those unfortunate circumstances. So it's important not to only just look at the deaths that's happening in our community, but also what does resources look like for our siblings and making sure that we can find them a safe place. That's why I started doing the work. T-Door is a part of my mission. It's a part of the work that we do.
One of the things I also want to bring to everyone's attention is when you have to defend yourself, you're with an abuser. So domestic partner violence looks like many things. It can be emotional abuse. It could be mental abuse. It's not always physical abuse. But if you are defending yourself and you're repeatedly defending yourself, you are with an abuser. And yes, that abuse can turn physical. Doesn't mean it started off physical. So assess your situation and assess your psychological safety as well as your physical safety. And if you need to do a little move, do a little move.
But what I want to underscore is that it's easier than said when you're trying to escape.
Yes.
I remember calling
of course.
the police, and they was looking like it was my problem. And he said to me that if I want someone at my house, I could just tell them to leave.
It's that easy, okay?
Yeah, it's that easy, and it wasn't. So that's important.
And actually, it's the most dangerous time for a woman to leave. When they leave, it's the most dangerous time because a lot of times that's when the partner wants to act out.
And they're most angry. It's scary.
There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by sharing them and subscribing to Queer News Tonight.